question. And that question is, how is your private life? So that's what I want you to think about as you watch this next video.
So when you first walk up to somebody, you've got to keep in mind that nobody is what they appear to be. Nobody. Every human being has 3 lives. It's what we're taught.
Ooh, that's
3 lives. There's a public life, a secret life, and a private life, right? So the order is public life, private life, secret life. The public life is what we're all presenting to each other. It's what we want to appear as in public, right? You want to look cool and suave and handsome, and you want to sound nice, and you want to surround yourself with nice things because that's what you want the public to perceive about you. It may not be real, but it doesn't have to be real. If they perceive it to be true, then you have won because you have just manipulated their perception. That's why broke ass high school and college kids will still wear nice name brand stuff so they don't look like they're broke ass students, right? Then you've got your private life. Now your private life is what your closest confidants know about you. So what your wife might know about you, what your close friends know about you, what your parents know about you. So publicly, nobody knows my feet smell bad. Privately, my wife knows my feet smell bad, right? But I'm never going to make that part of my public persona because it goes against what I'm trying to display as an image. So here you've got these 2 lives. When you meet a stranger, they're presenting their public life, always. Most of your connections, most of your friends, unless they are in the private life, they are all in the public life. Your coworkers, your customers, these are all people who you are dealing with, you're interacting with on a public life to public life level. We haven't even talked about the secret life, private life. Now your private life is what your closest confidants know about you. So what your wife might know about you, what your close friends know about you, what your parents know about you. So publicly, nobody knows my feet smell bad. Privately, my wife knows my feet smell bad, right? But I'm never going to make that part of my public persona because it goes against what I'm trying to display as an image.
So yeah, private life is more so like, okay, these are things that, my closest people know about me, but the whole world, they don't even know my feet smell. They don't need to know that, I don't know, I have bad morning breath or something like that. Or, it's just only the things that, my closest members of my inner circle kind of know and understand about me.
So here you've got these two lives. When you meet a stranger, they're presenting their public life. Always. Most of your connections, most of your friends, unless they are in the private life, they are all in the public life. Your coworkers, your customers, these are all people who you are dealing with, you're interacting with on a public life to public life level. We haven't even talked about the secret life.
So we're going to talk about the secret life, but first I want to make sure that we have our private life and public life in order. So what do you think is the line between the public and private life? How do you keep them divided, but in a healthy way?
I don't know if I necessarily agree that they should be divided, because I feel like it makes things inauthentic. But I guess if you were to divide it, it would be based off of who you're talking to, if you can trust them or not, and if you're comfortable talking to them about whatever would be deemed as private.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So yeah, I think the way I'm thinking about it is you're still the same person in your public life. You just don't reveal as much information. You don't give people all of you. And so I think one of the big things is celebrities or people who are super public, right? And when people start making all these accusations about their character and everything, and they're like, whoa, y'all don't know who I am. And it's like, well, yes, we do. You put all your stuff online. It's like, no, y'all really don't know who I am. Y'all see the persona of what I portray and what I represent, whether they represent, things that we would consider good or things that, we wouldn't necessarily align ourselves with. That's still the persona that they perceive. But then beyond that persona is, this person who has relationships with, other people in a familiar setting. And that person can probably open up a little bit more and, reveal more of, who they are beyond their public persona. Not that it's, I guess inauthentic. It's just a deeper level of, who they are. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That's how I thought about it, at least.
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. So I think one of the big things is Hannah Montana. So you have Hannah Montana, who's this front-facing, superstar, and then you have the Miley or whatever
Yeah.
her name was. I think her name was still Miley.
Yeah.
Who's like, okay, I'm actually this person. Now, I think there is a little bit of incongruency there, because sometimes when you're a star like that in your public life, you do things that you wouldn't necessarily rock with in your private life. And I think that's when you get the inauthenticity of it, when they're not seamlessly congruent, right? So the public life should just be, just a small slither of who you are, but it should still just bleed into the private life, to where people get the public life, but
And then
they
so,
get
like,
all of they
it's-
get just more of the private life.
Yeah, so if someone like first meets you and you give them your public self, I
Right.
guess, like what you show everybody, and then they become your friend, and you're like, okay, this person can get to know more about me, like they're invited into my home,
Right.
kind of thing. Then they see more of you. You're still the same person, but there's just more.
I mean, you could think about it in tiers, right? So like, or a Patreon or a subscription. So you have bronze, right? And that's the public life. So you only get a certain amount of perks with the bronze. It's like, oh yeah, pretty much everybody has bronze. But then you pay a little extra, or you get to know somebody a little bit more, and now you're in the silver, and that's their private life. And you're like, oh, like I get everything that was with the bronze that everybody has access to. Plus I get, exclusive offers, exclusive deals, all that different type of stuff. And then if you're able to work into the secret life, well, that's the gold. And that is what our guy is going to talk about now.
The secret life is the life that you don't share with anyone. It's that place where your darkest thoughts, your biggest vulnerabilities, it's where they live and convince you every day not to share them with your spouse, not to share them with your parents, the things that make you feel horrible about yourself, the things that you wonder if they're really true, but you're afraid to even ask the question, because what would they think? They the public life, they the private life. Well, how would people judge me?
That makes me think about the one video that we reacted to last week, where the guy was talking about he doesn't want to share whatever with people because he feels like they're not going to be his friends anymore.
Oh yeah.
This is what makes me think of that. So I guess like going back to transparency and vulnerability. Personally,
I can see that.
We all have a secret life too. For some people, secret life is big. For some people, secret life is quite small. But you've got these three lives. So when I approach somebody in spy mode or in business mode or in social mode, I know I'm dealing with a public life first. So
Are you trying to peel beneath that?
Sometimes
spy mode.
in spy mode, in spy mode you have two objectives. Objective number one is to get into someone's private life as quickly as possible. Because if you're not, unless you're in someone's private life, you'll never get into their secret life.
Ooh, so he's giving us a little bit of insight of how spies work. They kind of work on this, okay, let me keep working up the ranks into these different people's lives. Now, we are going to, spin this and put this into context of how you can apply this in your own life when thinking about, your three different lives and how to best divide them up so that you're optimize in how you move and have your being.
Objective number two, once you're in private life, is to become one of the few people that will ever penetrate their secret life. And there's only one reason why you want to penetrate someone's secret life. Because once you're there, you never leave. Once someone has trusted you with a secret life secret, their fealty to you, their loyalty to you is beyond question forever.
So who should be in the secret life?
well, based on what he said, I guess technically nobody except yourself. But I feel like it should be, I guess, whoever, like your close people, like maybe like one or two people, like your spouse and your best friend or something like that. Or your spouse and sibling or best friend. So I don't know. I feel like it should be maybe like a handful, like 2 or 3 people.
Oh yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. I think it's going to be a significant other, spouse, or somebody who's, grown up with you over a long period of time that you truly trust.
Yeah.
And if you watch his whole podcast that he was on there, he talks about how he and his wife, they're very much in each other's secret life. So like, I think it's not that nobody should be in your secret life. It's just that a lot of times people put up walls so that nobody's in their secret life. So that it's like, oh no, I'm not letting any of this out, because if I let it out, I'm not sure how even people in my private life that I'm close to will think of me, let alone people in the public life. So let's get into our points here, starting with Miss Kenya.
All right, my point is it's important to let a handful of faithful friends, keyword faithful, friends and family in on your secret life. Holding back the secret or hidden truth can lead to an inauthentic life. No one can hold something against you if it's already out in the open, and secrets never stay secrets for long.
Okay, I like that. My point is the most optimal relation between the three lives is to keep all circles tight with people who show they want the best for you on a continual basis. So essentially, your public personas, your public persona, you obviously want to have a good reputation because that's how you get opportunities to, further your career or get opportunities to do things that you would like to accomplish in life. But when it comes to your private life and your secret life, those should be reserved for people that you respect and you trust. Because if it's reserved to too many people who are outsiders looking in and they have access to your private life, well, then it's going to be easier to be swayed into doing things that are inauthentic to you, right? Whether it's, going against your moral compass, or, you just have too many voices in your head, because like those people don't matter. They don't know you the way that these people know you. So you need to get a tight circle of people that you revere and respect, and you need to hold their words above anything that the public would say. And so I think keeping a tight circle of friends and family that you trust is paramount in that situation, so that, you can move forward in the best way. So let us know what you think. How is your private life? We kind of gave you a little bit of insight on, how to navigate that, but we'd like to know your thoughts. We'll be back with our last segment on being equally yoked, and we're going to tie that into secret life and attachments. So stay tuned.